Alright, I want to take it back to the mid to late 2000s to one of the most entertaining, underrated shows of all time, Madden Nation. The concept of the show was simple. Fill a bus with the top Madden players in the world and travel coast to coast, stopping at each major city along the way, where two of the players would play against one another. The loser being eliminated from the challenge, kicked off the bus, and sent home cold-blooded. The last player remaining would win $1 million. The show was hilarious, both intentionally and unintentionally. Most of the dudes on the bus were characters, talk mad trash with very little self-awareness. Add to that some high stakes, and you have some of the most organically funny moments I've ever seen on TV. I didn't realize it at the time, but this was my first foray into esports. The show lasted only 4 seasons, ending in 2008, but it was only the start for what would become the growing industry that is competitive sports gaming. Today we still have official tournaments hosted by EA for both Madden and FIFA, which have gained some traction in recent years. But without a doubt, the biggest attempt at competitive sports gaming has come from the NBA 2K League, which is by far and away the most formal and organized competition of any sports gaming franchise. That said, the league is in an interesting situation. It's been growing rapidly year over year in terms of popularity and viewership, but I do want to explore a few things in this video. First, how does the NBA 2K League compare to other sports gaming competitions, especially those hosted by its contemporaries, namely FIFA and Madden? And second, how does sports gaming as a whole compare to other games across esports? This is with the goal of answering whether the current format of competitive sports gaming is a viable product, or to put it simply, if there's a future for it. And we'll explore that and more in this video. What's good, y'all? My name is Malik, and this is The Business of Sport, a channel dedicated to none other than, yes, the business of sport. If you're new here, welcome to this video, welcome to this channel, and most of all, welcome to the dopest community on YouTube. If you're interested in sports business, oh goodness, I keep hitting my mic. If you're interested in sports business or stuff in and around that, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I promise you won't regret it. And for my amigos, my amiguettes, my brothers from other mothers, and my sisters from other misters, welcome back. And I just want to give y'all a huge thank you. We just hit 260 subs. Thank you, and thank you again. Let's keep going this channel, keep hitting that subscribe button, keep hitting that thumbs up, and let's make some history, y'all. All right, without further ado, let's get to it. All right, so the NBA 2K League, I'll be calling it the 2KL in this video for short, is an esports league joint venture between the NBA and Take-Two Interactive, the parent company of 2K. Starting in 2018, the league looked to leverage the existing model of the NBA, where each NBA franchise would essentially have their own 2KL team as well, such that the Knicks would have their own Knicks gaming team, the Lakers would have their own Lakers gaming team, etc., etc. In total, of the 30 NBA franchises, 22 have a 2KL team, and the rest are all broke boys. Shout out Robert Sarver. I'm sorry, hold on. You can't be a broke boy of an owner and a racist. I feel like you gotta pick your poison. You can't be broke and a racist. You can be a rich racist. No. That's not what I meant. I'm gonna stop that thought right there. We're just gonna keep going. Anyway, of the 30 NBA franchises, 22 of them have a 2KL team, and the rest are indeed some broke boys. There is also one independent team based in China and another soon joining that will be based out in Mexico. The league operates similar to its real-life counterpart, with an annual draft, trades, a regular season, and playoffs. Once drafted, players sign 6-month contracts and will have their relocation, transportation, food, and housing costs covered by the league, as well as benefits such as medical insurance and a retirement plan. Pretty good living. Players drafted in the first round will make $35,000, while the rest of the players will make $32,000. There are also 4 opportunities to win additional prize money, where $1 million is split between 4 different tournaments during the season. The games are primarily broadcasted on Twitch, who has a multi-year partnership to live stream all games. ESPN later agreed to broadcast the games on ESPN2 internationally and ESPN's digital platforms. There are also a number of international broadcasters showing the games, including Sportsnet out in Canada, EGG in Southeast Asia, as well as Loco in India. Between ESPN's global audience and the other networks mentioned just now, the 2KL is broadcasted on network TV to nearly every single region in the world, aside from the Middle East and North Africa and Antarctica. Shout out to the Penguins. As a result of this, the league's audience has been growing rapidly. Last season, the 2KL saw a big jump in broadcast distribution and viewership. Brendan Donahue, the league's managing director, explained how the broadcasts on Twitch are up nearly 70% year over a year. In total, the NBA 2K League received at least 1 million unique viewers each time it was shown on ESPN2. And as for sponsorships, the league has pulled in several big names as well, including AT&T, shout out Singular, Snickers, mediocre candy bar, Bud Light, I don't drink, but I've heard it's pretty much just water, SAP, I actually used to run one of their Twitter accounts, funny enough, and PlayStation, the second best gaming console on the market, just to name a few. So to summarize, the league is well structured, has a lot of support from sponsors, broadcasters, franchises, and the NBA as a whole. It's also seen substantial growth and has done a good job of making the league available to a global audience. But again, this is all in a vacuum. How does the 2KL stack up to other sports gaming tournaments and other esports tournaments as well? To do this, I first want to compare the 2KL to Madden and FIFA, its biggest competitors in the market. Now, I know the 2KL was boasting some high numbers, over 1 million viewers for some of its broadcasts, but that is also including TV ratings. And as we mentioned, the league is broadcasted across the world in some format or another. So I think we can take those numbers with a grain of salt. Did I really do that? I felt so cool when I did that. I really went like grain of salt. I'm so corny, dog. Oh my goodness. 2K is also the only one of the 3 games which has a dedicated league. The other 2, Madden and FIFA, do have tournaments, rankings, and global championships, but nothing as formal as the 2KL. So seeing this, let's take a look at the championships in 2020 for each of these 3 games, using strictly streaming audiences, not broadcast audiences, as the metric for comparing viewership and popularity. EA's Madden Bowl, hosted in June 2020, had a peak viewership of 44,504 and an average viewership of 17,404. The NBA 2K League's 2020 finals had a peak viewership of 46,076 and an average viewership of 26,719, 10,000 more than Madden. FIFA does things a little bit differently, with more of a focus on regional championships, though it did host a global tournament called the FIFA Challenge in late 2020, which raked in a peak viewership of 328,000 watchers and an average viewership of 260,000, almost 10 times what the 2KL brought in, and that was in about a quarter of the airtime. And while the gap between FIFA and 2K does seem drastic, this is nowhere compared to the rest of the esports industry. Removing the sports gaming filter, we see some even more insane numbers. Looking at 2020 to keep it consistent, here are the top 5 most viewed events across streaming platforms based on peak viewership. And remember, this does not include broadcast TV, just streaming. Free Fire is a game that dominated the rankings, with 3 of the top 5 spots taking 5th, 3rd, and 2nd place. Mobile Legends came in 4th, and League of Legends came in 1st. As for the numbers, put on your seatbelts. 5th place, Free Fire, brought in over 1.2 million peak viewers. The next few spots are incrementally higher before reaching League of Legends, which capped at of nearly 4 million peak viewers. To put that into perspective, that's nearly the same amount of viewers the NBA playoffs got this past season. As for the average number of viewers, not peak, the list does change a bit, but the numbers are still extremely impressive, with League of Legends taking both 1st and 5th place, while Free Fire held the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th highest average viewership. As for the numbers, we have a range between 500,000 and just over 1.1 million. The latter held again by 1st place League of Legends. So what was the point of all this? Look, I know it's not the fairest of comparisons. I literally took the 5 most popular events that happened in the entire industry that year and pitted them against the top sports gaming events. But at the very least, I hope this can put into perspective the real gap between sports games and other esports gaming competitions. And to be fair, a lot of these non-sports gaming competitions do bring in several 100,000 viewers on the regular. Just scroll through escharts.com, the source for a lot of the numbers in this video, and you can see a full calendar of recent events for varying games, all bringing in significantly higher viewership than any sports gaming competition, championship or otherwise. The only game that brings in somewhat competitive numbers is FIFA, and that's only across a handful of events. So this begs the question, if esports are so popular, they're selling out arenas, they're getting millions of viewers, why hasn't any of this translated to the sports gaming world? And this is actually something I struggled to find a ton of information on, but I do have some theories, mainly 2 that I want to explore with y'all. The first first is the context behind these different games. So to fully understand a game of NBA 2K or Madden or FIFA or any other sports game, you first have to have some foundational knowledge and familiarity with the sport. And as for being a competitive sports gamer, you will need to have extensive knowledge there. Fully understand the rosters, schemes, watch actual games, and then translate that over into what these games truly are, a virtual simulation of a real-life sporting event. These games aren't developed in a vacuum. They're extensions of an existing product that both the players and the audience need to have familiarity with. In total, it's safe to assume that the majority of sports gamers are also sports fans. Not that there is an explicit one-to-one relationship between the two, but I think you could agree that sports fans likely make up a majority of sports gamers. This isn't the same for a lot of these other games. There isn't that additional degree of separation or background knowledge you need to have and continue to maintain. The only thing you really need to be in the audience for a League of Legends tournament is to have played League of Legends or watched a stream before to understand the gist of the game. That's literally it. The barrier for entry is extremely low and there's minimal effort needed to keep up with the changes to the games, unlike sports where there's turnover in rosters, players, and teams all of the time. Now, I know esports teams change rosters all the time, but I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about the video games themselves, not the actual esports teams. So to summarize, League of Legends may add a few characters here and there, but nothing at the scale of an NBA or NFL offseason. The other thing to keep in mind is that, again, these sports games are simulations of an actual sport, not the sport itself. I'm not saying competitive gaming isn't a sport. I'm strictly talking about what these games are at their core, which is a simulation of a non-virtual competition. League of Legends or any other non-sports games are the original sport, not the simulation of a non-virtual competition, which feeds into my earlier point about a lower barrier for entry because of the minimal context and effort needed outside of understanding the game itself. And it's because of this I'm actually not that optimistic regarding the outlook of competitive sports gaming, at least in its current format. Obviously there will be some outliers. I think FIFA will always have an audience just based off the simple fact that there are billions of soccer fans internationally. So even if there's a fraction of percent of that audience that's interested in competitive sports gaming, it's still a huge number at scale. But as for NBA 2K, Madden, and really any other sports games, I don't think the current products as currently presented will have much room to grow in the future, at least not at the scale of other non-sports gaming franchises. And this isn't to say I don't think they will continue to grow. In fact, quite the opposite. I think we will continue to see them grow. But there's just too high a barrier for entry for your average, general, non-sports fan audience to really care about these competitions. But maybe this is where there needs to be a change in the format. Maybe we're presenting sports gaming the wrong way. Maybe if we change the format in which we present these games, they could appeal to a larger audience. Maybe, just maybe, putting all those dudes on a bus wasn't such a bad idea after all. Alright y'all, thank y'all so much for making it through another video. If you enjoyed it, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Any support we can get is greatly appreciated. I appreciate y'all for real. Thank you so much for all the support, all the love, and all the positivity. Have a great rest of your day. Love y'all. Peace.